Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I have another update about the Guppy Neocaridina ecosystem tank. It's a 54 liter or 14 gallon tank, and in this video today I just want to give you a brief update on the Neocaridina shrimp because I added 2 new types, amazing types. Also on my bladder snails and on the guppy fish because they have reproduced. The Neocaridina have reproduced. So guys, let's dive right into it, pun intended, haha. So as you can see, the tank is teeming with life, especially the Orange Neocaridina shrimp, the so-called Orange Sakura shrimp, are very numerous here. Their population has exploded. I don't really know how to say it otherwise. And they are super healthy. You can actually see several buried females already in different stages here, and they are amazing animals. They are biofilm eaters. You can see this one here, I think it is a male, devouring the biofilm on this plant leaf, and they are just doing super fine. It's, I think, the second or third generation of shrimp in this small 54 liter tank here. Now you can, for instance, see a female that is buried in eggs, or not really eggs yet. I think you could call it eggs, but it's definitely ready to mate. This is what you can see when they have this so-called saddle here, because that means that they have pre-developed eggs, so to say. They store them in their bag for some reason. You can see another one here in front of the filter, riding the waves, so to say, and it's a little younger one, but probably a first time buried. They are close, secreting the eggs, so to say, to their tail, and this is where they hold them. And before and after that happened, so you can see this in this female here. It looks huge. It has huge amount of eggs in its tail, and then the males can fertilize those eggs. And then after some time, when the females had some time developing the eggs, then they hatch, and at the beginning you can't really see them. Maybe my eyesight is too bad, but I've never really seen a super tiny one, but I always see them when they're like 1/3 of the size of an adult one, like this one here in the front that is swimming. And when they are super tiny, they are kind of shy. So they have this thing called neophobia. Everything that is new, they shy away from. And that's also the case for the newly added Neocaridina shrimp. So they don't really show at the beginning. That's why you don't see the blue ones that I added in here. Here, another shot of the very small one. And when they are a little older, they have a sort of different behavior. That's very interesting. I don't know if it's the same for all Neocaridina shrimp or if this is specific to this tank, or if it is just my observation, but you can see them schooling here. You can see it on the top right of the screen or of the aquarium at the moment. They really swim in a sort of school. Here it's a little closer. And I think schooling behavior always occurs when small animals want to protect themselves from larger animals, like from fish that could eat them, larger crustaceans that could eat them, or maybe also water insects that are present in their country of origin. I think they are originally from Asia, from China, but now they can be found all over the place, anywhere where it's kind of tropical. And anyways, the schooling behavior, you can also see it here again. This is always used as a measure to protect the whole pack of shrimps or of animals. And it is very common in birds. I mean, you can always see swarms of birds flying around. If you live basically anywhere where humans live, there are probably pigeons that are flying around. You can beautifully see that in ocean fish that have a very, very common schooling behavior. And I think you can also see it in Neocaridina shrimp. But maybe they just follow all the same route. That might be also possible. As I said before, they are amazing biofilm eaters and they just look amazing. I wish I had better eyesight so I could see this also normally, but with the camera I can just focus on them, and I think they are one of the most beautiful animals that you can keep. Even, I should not tell this to my Amano shrimp, but even prettier than Amano shrimp, because they are just so small and so, how to say, yeah, so detailed. You can also see this when they are feeding in this top-down position here on the bottom of plant leaves. Wow! Look at their the hair that is coming out of their head. I lack a better word of saying this, but they are just amazing. Yeah, as mentioned before, a few weeks back I got 4 new shrimp for this tank. The retail names are Blue Dream Shrimp and Red Rili Shrimp or Kohaku Shrimp. So I got 2 of each, 2 blue and 2 red Rili shrimps, and I added them to the tank. As far as I know, they are all still alive, so I all saw them at one point in the last 2 weeks. I added them like 2 weeks ago, but they still have this thing called neophobia, same I mentioned before. They are afraid of new things, so they hide, and I mean basically it's just 4 shrimp, and there's probably 30 Neocaridina Orange Sakura in there, so it's difficult to see them. But here, when I put them in, they are just beautiful. Look at them. Look at the color. What's your favorite shrimp type? Is it one of those that I have in the tank? Is it Orange Sakura? Is it a Blue Dream Shrimp? Or is it the Red Rili Shrimp? Is it maybe not a Neocaridina shrimp at all, but a completely different kind of shrimp? Please put it in the comments. You can also see the blue one swimming on the top left now. So they come out sometimes, and my goal is really that they mix in the future. I'm really excited to see this, and maybe in 2 months we will have the first mixed baby shrimp. So not just these Orange Sakuras, which are beautiful, but also mixed ones. And you can see behind this Orange Sakura shrimp a bladder snail already. They are kind of difficult to see in this larger view of the tank because they move so slow. You probably cannot see them, but when you zoom in, so maybe on the top left you can already see 2 or 3 of them, of the bladder snails. When you zoom in, or when you have a look at the top of the tank, they are absolutely interesting animals actually. Most people think they are pests, but I think they are even more interesting than fish, or than most of the fish, because they can cling to the surface, as you just saw in the last shot, and they are also amazing biofilm eaters. And really, I like cleaning my tanks, but I also like to get some help when cleaning my tanks. And the best help you can really get is from bladder snails, shrimp, and guppies. So never underestimate the hunger of bladder snails for algae. Also, sometimes algae grows on their shells, as you can see here, so they look like they have a little hairstyle going on there, which I think is beautiful. And if you look closely here, this snail, you can see the mouth parts of the snail moving. Super, super, super interesting. So yeah, I would say get some snails for your tank if you don't have them, and don't say they are pests, because they are actually amazing. Of course, I did not forget about the guppy fish in my tank, guys and girls, friends in total. The guppy fish are also doing relatively good, I would say, in this tank. So the population is behaving quite normal. It has not exploded like the shrimp population, but they reproduce just fine. Also, the total number of guppies, you can check the last video I did about this ecosystem. The total population was not that high, and I do not really feed a lot here. Just put some flakes in. They really love their flakes. They always munch on the flakes, and the shrimp munch on their shrimp food. And they really don't care about each other's food that much. That's what I thought is interesting. So actually what's written on the package really applies to these animals here. You can see how the guppy female, the relatively large one, that is obviously also pregnant, is freaking out about her food here, and also the males are just devouring the food. I think there's a small mismatch of the number of males to females, so there's probably 4 males in there and 4 adult females. Usually I go for other mix, so to say. As you can see, the small babies, and I really have a big smile on my face at the moment, because guppy babies always make me happy. They are just chilling here and eating what's left over from the adults. They just look amazing. Guppy fish are really, I know they are a beginner fish. They're supposed to be easy fish. They are easy fish. They are easy to reproduce. So many people keep them in tanks without plants, tanks that have these silly castles in them, or other plastic things, plastic plants. But guppy fish love algae, they love munching on algae. You can see here a beautiful Endler male, Endler guppy male. They love vegetation, they love algae, they love to eat on fresh algae, on freshly dyed plants. They will not eat your living plants, but the leaves that just died, they will also eat that, or those. And they love to hide also in a tank that is really planted. So even though they will survive in a tank that does not have all of that, does not have algae a lot, that does not have plants or many plants, they thrive in this planted kind of setup. And you can see this by the look of this small baby guppy fish. Also here, not a huge amount of baby shrimp, and the biggest male in the tank, you could also just see it. And what I also want to say is they really coexist very well in this tank. So this tank is not big, 14 gallon or 54 liter setup here. Hugely planted, so there's not that much free space to swim, but since the fish are so small, for them actually there is a lot of free space to swim, a lot of space to hide and everything. But also these animals are not aggressive at all in total, and also not aggressive to each other. So you can perfectly keep them together in a small setup like this: bladder snails, guppies, and the Neocaridina shrimp. And they also work so well together in a symbiosis with the plants. Symbiosis means that the animals feast on the biofilm that grows on the plants, and the plants benefit from the animals eating the biofilm, because with that they have a clean leaf surface, and with that they are more efficient at doing photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis is the way a plant eats, basically, and it really helps them. So the guppies are doing super well, the shrimp are doing super well, the bladder snails are doing super well. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this setup in the comments. What do you think about it? Would you do anything different? Would you add a species? I actually don't intend to add any more species to this tank because it's doing so well. Would you add species? What would you do differently? Please also consider subscribing to the channel and giving a thumbs up to this video. It's a lot of work that has gone into it, so I would really appreciate it. And please, if you're interested in how I set up this tank, it's a 40 euro budget tank, 40 euro, $50 roughly budget tank, then please click on this video now.